The 7 deadly sins, no, not these. The actual 7 deadly sins are representations of the vices that would bring out the worst in humanity and lead to more sin. People show representations of the sins every day, from that one friend who thinks he's the center of the universe to the goon or uncle you never told your parents about. Most of us think of animals as pure beings that act based off of instinct and the need to survive. Well, you're wrong. The animal kingdom is made up of a bunch of terrible bastards, from serial rapists of the ocean to genocidal armies. I'm going to be covering the 7 deadly sins, but as animals. So grab a snack and let's get into it. The first sin we're going to be covering is for all my big backs out there. Gluttony is the act of overdrinking or overindulging to the point of waste or possibly even self-harm. There's a bunch I think most of you are probably expecting. Probably like the spotted hyenas that leave nothing left on the carcass, or the massive constrictors that explode from eating too much sometimes. But I think I found a better candidate, the Komodo dragon. It's the reason that it's the most massive lizard on the planet. Actually, that's probably due to geographical circumstances more than the eating style, but I digress. Komodos are the largest lizards on the planet, with males weighing upwards of 200 pounds and few individuals reaching the 300 mark. As if it wasn't overpowered enough, it has a venomous bite. Yes, it is venom, not deadly bacteria, since their mouth microbiome isn't that much different from any other wild carnivore. Anyway, the reason I put it as gluttony. What would this properly trimmed gentleman possibly have against eating machines like this? Yeah, that's why. Able to eat more than 80% of its body weight in a single sitting is the big back king of Komodo Island. If you think that's not impressive, to put in perspective, if you were about 180 pounds, you would need to eat over 200 burgers in one go without water or rest. And I'm sure a lot of you who are trying to bulk up relate as to how hard it is to try and eat even 3,000 calories in a single day. Everything on the island is fair game for the Komodos: birds, monkeys, pig, deer, buffalo, dead people. Yes, dead people, since Komodos have raided graves to feed on the rotting corpses and even other Komodo dragons. And this isn't the normal reptilian cannibalism. I'm saying this like it's normal, but what I mean is that some of the claws of other Komodo dragons found in the fecal matter of the individual that ate them aren't that much smaller than it. The claws of one specimen indicated that it was around 5 to 6 feet long, and it was eaten by an 8-foot long individual. So granted, for some monitor lizards and crocs, even a foot of a length in difference has a massive weight increase. These guys are well equipped to rip and tear prey apart, but for them it seems if the head can fit in its mouth, then the entire body can. Now I can understand eating a fish, bird, or even eel whole, but swallowing a kid is a whole nother level of diabolical. Relax, I mean kid as in baby goat. It has more than enough tools equipped to tear off limbs for something that size. And then there's this one with the monkey. Now there's no way something other than a snake should be able to pull this off. Yes, lizards, especially monitor lizards, due to their primarily carnivorous diet, have a decent amount of elasticity to allow them to swallow certain things whole, instead of wasting energy tearing it up. But come on, this is a bit much, ain't it? I know for a fact that every pause this thing took, it was a pause to breathe. This dude was gasping for air. There's also this one, who got his head stuck in a sea turtle shell. Anyway, I'm aware of the reason that they eat as much as they do. Similar to that of crocodiles and some snakes, where they can eat one large meal so that they can go longer without food. Though it isn't as extreme as the crocs or constrictors, that can go a year without a single meal. Anyway, my pick for this one could be up for debate. But the animal for the next sin is the only animal besides us who can fit the sin, and you can't change my mind. Let's see, most of you as teenagers know this sin all too well. You see a nice girl you find pretty, and then you get a rise out of it. Literally. This is a sin of lust, which is the longing desire or want for sexual interaction. This sin is one of the worst ones humans can represent, considering the atrocities that have come out of it. And for the individuals that have committed this sin in a crime, they need to be castrated at the very least. Believe it or not, there are some animals that can show this sin really well, such as ducks. That's right, that cute drake you've been throwing bread at on the pond is likely a sexual deviant. Male ducks will often try to fight for the right to mate with a female, and this sometimes could lead to the death of the female due to drowning. It's so bad that the female duck's reproductive systems are built like mazes. But there's one animal that's much worse. Not just because of what it does, but because it does it for pleasure. It's the thing a lot of you want to see every time you go on a cruise, and what some of you even want to pet. Well, guess what? The adorable trick practicing cetacean you want to interact with so badly is a serial rape. That's right, you sick. Aside from humans, dolphins are one of the most sick creatures on the planet. But before we get into that, if you're liking this video so far, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And dare I say, share it too, since 3 taps for you guys will allow me to continue making vids like these. Again, thank you for your support, and now back to the Reddit mod Dolphins. Sometimes rogue bands of males will find an individual female and force her into coitus, ramming her and biting her if she doesn't give in. And the males in this band usually take turns, and the crazy part is that it's a coordinated thing. They each just take their own turns. And what's worse, if the female has a calf, the rogue band of males may try to dispose of the calf in order to have their way with the mother. The only hope usually is to fight them off or to find another pod that's sane. Now I'll be lying if I said it happens all the time, because it doesn't. But the fact that it happens every now and again is still too much. Another fact, those rumors you heard of dolphins getting high off of poisonous fish, it's true. Dolphins will sometimes target pufferfish specifically to get high by constantly poking them so that their poison is excreted, and they just can't get enough of it. And they get just enough of it to the point where they get some kind of buzz, I guess. Don't know how that's possible, since pufferfish toxin is some of the most deadly on the planet, but who am I to judge the degenerates of the sea? They also perform or try to perform interspecies coitus. Sometimes their target's not being alive, but I'll get into that later. We see a lot of videos of dolphins jumping onto girls and flapping about. I think most of you remember of the flipper case, don't we? Now back to what I was supposed to talk about, with some of their participants not even being alive. Dolphins of different species, but most commonly bottlenose and river dolphins, have been seen trying to copulate with dead fish, some that don't even have their heads attached. There is a somewhat infamous video I saw on Instagram where a river dolphin was using a dead fish the same way a Reddit mod uses his anime pillow. But this is YouTube, and since I just got this channel monetized, I refuse to show it. As a matter of fact, why do you even want to see the video? For the few weird people who somehow want to defend them, saying, well, dogs and other animals hump inanimate objects too, so what's the problem? The problem is that humans, primates and dolphins are the only creatures, I think, that perform coitus strictly for pleasure. So the mob assault and necrophilia wasn't trying to carry out their species genes, it was to satisfy their weird cetacean needs. So with that, I hope you'll see Scrooge Duck and Flipper the Dolphin for what they really are. The next candidate for the upcoming sin is probably even more surprising than the gooning sea mammals. Penguins, the cute little, well, not so little flightless birds that waddle around and do the most adorable poses. How could they possibly end up as a deadly sin? Well, again, nature's cutest are often its darkest in disguise. Envy is a resentful desire for another's possessions or status. Basically, it's you looking at a 12-year-old who was just bought a 16 Pro Max while you've been rocking an 11 for almost a decade. But why would penguins represent envy out of all things? Well, believe it or not, penguins are very selfish and jealous creatures. So, firstly, they don't like to share. Yeah, they throw a fit if another walks near their nest, even by accident. As for jealousy, certain species of penguins that live in hotter climates like rocks that they use for their nest, and the better the rock collection, the more likely of you attracting a mate. Some individuals fight bloody battles just to get their neighbors rocked, even though there's a beach full of them. Other times they steal the rocks when their neighbors are gone, and in a few cases, while I don't think it's specifically targeted, sometimes the nest owner will shoot a poop missile directly onto the neighbor's face. This fecal warfare is more so about keeping their nest clean, but come on, you can't tell me at least some of these aren't deliberate. But the real reason they're on this list is their involvement with their own offspring. Nature can be cruel, and infant mortality in the wild is a given. And this is sad, no doubt, especially when you see the parents of the chick or egg they lost actually mourn. There's a good chunk of videos of female emperor penguins who recently lost their egg or chick from either predators or the environment itself, trying to steal the offspring of another parent during their time of grief. They are so envious of the parenthood they were robbed that they are willing to fight the parent of another chick just to experience it. They sometimes do succeed, and that isn't really the worst part. The bad part is that it never lasts. These foster parents often look after the chick for a few days or weeks, and when that parental rush is over, they abandon the chick that they fought for. That's right, they abandon the chick that they fought so hard for, and if the chick is being too clingy, they sometimes peck at it repeatedly to shoo it away, which decreases its chances of survival. After the abandonment, the baby's original parents won't take it back, so inevitably it does die of starvation not too long after. This, I gotta say, for me at least, is one of nature's cruelest acts. But it's just another example showing even in the animal kingdom, jealousy can be a deadly thing. Alright folks, hope you enjoyed the video. The part 2 will be out shortly, hopefully before the end of the week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.